why don't we go ahead and get started? What I'm going to do is show you, and I realized last week that I did not show you the card sketch that I pulled from Pinterest to use in the Make It With Mary. So from now on, I will have that posted afterwards when I do the blog for this, so that way you can see where I got the inspiration from and how I came up with the sketch, and then the one we created as well as others. So let me flip this around if there's no questions. Let me think if I have anything to say, any announcements. You just have a couple of days left to order the Come Sail Away All Occasion class and the Magnolia Lane All Occasion class. Those are both featuring the Memories and More cards. And then I think that's about it. If you place an order this month, I will send you a package of our new Gilded Gems. They are part of the Ornate Garden suite, and they're awesome. They're beautiful, 3 sizes, very shiny and sparkly. And be sure and check out the retired list. I'm actually going through my catalogs right now and marking what's retired, what's carrying over, bundles that are being carried over. That's a first for us. And then also which items that are now bundles, where the products are carrying over, but they're not a bundle. There's a few things like that. And so be sure and check out the retiring list. There are several things that are discounted, including lots of designer series papers, some ribbons and embellishments, and it seems that there are a number of dies that are discounted as well. So be sure and check that out at maryknabe.stampinup.net. And let me flip my phone around and we'll get started creating. So I'm very excited to have you all here, and I'm very excited to have people craft along with me. So Patricia, I think this is your first time crafting along with me, so I'm super excited. You made my morning. So here is the card I made with all the cardstock and designer series paper dimensions I gave you. Remember that each Make It With Mary Monday, I'll give those measurements by 8 a.m. in the morning on the site, Stampin' Piece VIP group. And you decide how you want that to be. If you wanted all these to be different colors of cardstock, you could do that. If you wanted to use DSP here, whatever you want to do, okay? And that's what card sketches and card layouts are all about, is I give specific measurements and shapes and things, and then you do the creating and I do the creating. And I always love to see how everybody's turns out, whether you do it with me right now or afterwards. Be sure and post. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how I did this one, and then we're going to do something a little bit different for the second one. You are going to help me choosing the DSP and the colors and embellishments and things, okay? So I told you start with a standard size card base, 5.5 by 8.5, 5.5 by 8.5, and it measures or is scored at 4 1/4 and then folded in half. I have a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 inch whisper white to put on the inside, and that's your decision if you want to do that, depending on the color of card base that you're using. I'll adhere this to the inside of the card. I'm using, I want to make sure I'm in the screen here. I'm using the Bonanza Buddy Suite, and these products are being retired. So if you love them like I do, please order them before they're gone. when I looked last night, I believe all the things I'm using were still available. But you know, most items are while supplies last only. And there are things that do sell out, things that probably already have sold out. And stamp sets are guaranteed as long as you place your order by May 22nd. All right. So I've adhered the 5" by 3 3/4 inch layer to the 5 1/4 by 4 inch. I'll now add that to my card front. And just a reminder, when I put this on a blog post later this week with the actual black, white, gray card sketch that I use, you might want to make a copy of those sketches and download them, because then you'll always have a record or a file of different card sketches you can use when you kind of get in a slump and are having a hard time thinking of something. Now these layers are 4 1/4 by 2 1/2, and then the black is 4 1/2 by 2 3/4. I'm going to add those to my card front. Now normally I'm somebody that goes for the center. This card sketch, it has us taking this piece to the edge of our bottom layer, and I'm overlapping the two right ends of the black layers for that large one and the smaller one. Okay, do you see that? How I just put one over the other there? All right, then it told us to use, oh, I was gonna flip that over, no worries. Then it told us something, and it had on it a banner. But it doesn't necessarily always have to be a banner just because that's the way the sketch shows it. But that was 1 3/4 by 2, and then the black I made 2 inches by 2 1/4. I used the tailored tag punch, okay, to make that banner cut. Sometimes I don't like the real deep cut that you get with the triple banner punch. Sometimes the shorter punch works a little bit better. It's just a matter of preference. But instead of doing that, I decided, what could I use that's approximately the same size as this? So what I did was, I have to check my measurements here. Yes. So I punched a 2 1/4 inch circle, and then I punched this cute little lion from a 2 inch circle punch right from the designer series paper. Okay, so I'm changing this out for this shape. Alrighty. And since the banner and the circle are kind of like a focal point on this, I am putting them up on dimensionals. Patricia, how are you doing? Are you stamping and creating right along? And I am going to have, instead of, it could go like that, I suppose, or it could go a little bit above. I'm not sure. What do you think? Centered or above? You tell me. I have to wait a few seconds here for it to catch up with you. Amy says above. Okay. Yep, pulled all those off. So I'll do above. And then, so you can see the two cards are the same to this point, with the exception of that shape here. And then I colored some rhinestones with dark Mango Melody. Here I used dark Bermuda Bay. This time I'm using dark Mango Melody. And instead of putting them at the top this time, I'm going to put them at the bottom. Okay, so you can see I'm using that same card sketch, but just using it a little bit differently. Okay, so there, same sketch, same products used, but I changed it up just a tiny bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to make a third card with the same sketch, the same measurements of the pieces, but I want you to tell me what I should use. So the first thing I want to know is what designer series paper I have. And let's try to choose one that's perhaps from the mini catalog, or, of course, I guess they're probably all retiring, aren't they? Yeah, just choose a designer series paper for me. And then I'll pull some coordinating colors of cardstock. Who's going to be the first one, the brave one, to tell me which kind of which designer series paper pack I should use? Best Dressed. Okay, let me see if I still have some of that. I know I do. It's just a matter of, is it right by me? Here we go. Okay, so yes. So let's see. Do you want the flowers or the whatever? I guess I shouldn't give you too much choice because I'm gonna make sure I have it. Oh, I love that one. That's so pretty. Really bright and cheerful, I think, is what's drawing me to it. There's a pretty yellow that could go. Okay, let's see what else I can pull out from here. I really like the green with this. That could be a background. Okay, let's go with that. So, I will start by cutting this to, where's my little cutter? I'll use this one. So I'll start with my card base. I think I'll go with the Old Olive card base. Which works out great because I already had a couple cut. I don't know why this one's not scored, but we will score it now at 4 1/4 inches. So 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I'm scoring at 4 1/4. Patricia, how are you doing? I hope you're still crafting along with me. Anybody else crafting right now as we work together? Good morning, Donna. And then I'm going to cut the top layer. I'm going to use this polka dot, white polka dots on Old Olive. And I'm going to make this 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I'll adhere this to the front of the card. I know what you're thinking, Mary, why are you covering up that beautiful floral? Because I'm going to use that for my other layer. I have to move this out of the way. There we go. Now I do have Whisper White cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I'm going to make a suggestion right here. I'm going to show you. I don't want to turn my phone around, but if I did, you could see this drawer that's right beside me. I keep card bases in thick Whisper White and thick Very Vanilla cut all the time. I'll cut up several packages to make a large set of card bases, so I always have them on stock ready to just pull. I also then cut pieces, white card pieces that are 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I use the regular Whisper White and the Very Vanilla for these layers, but I always have these handy because these are things I use all of the time, the white and the vanilla card bases and the white and the vanilla 5 1/4 by 4 inch layers. Oh, Pat, great. You're still here and you're crafting right along. I'm so excited. Thank you. Susan, are you crafting with me this morning? Joan, anybody else? Good morning, Donna. I'm glad you're here. So I'm not sure how I'm going to use this card, so I'm not going to adhere this just yet because I might do some stamping with it. Okay, now I want to cut this layer, and I know that this needs to be 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. 2 1/2 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to use an old olive base for that as well. Whoops. Oh, these scraps are falling out at me. Let me see if I have something close. Always check your scraps when you're cutting pieces. I think these are all too narrow, except for this one. So I need this to be 4 1/2 by 2 3/4. The other thing I can tell you about card sketches is that when you find you have a card that you really like, and maybe one of the reasons you really like it is because of the card layout, make one of those for yourself, or take a photo of it so that you'll remember that card sketch, and then that helps with creating cards later. You can just pull ideas from different cards and different sketches. Sometimes I have lots of cards in card displays right here. Sometimes if I'm in a slump, I'll just go over there and I'll look for perhaps a color combination I want or that appeals to me, or I might be looking for a card layout and we'll case that. So keep that in mind. You don't always have to come up with brand new ideas. Use what you have. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. Okay, so I have this layer. Now I just started thinking, here's the card, but our card could also go this direction. Okay, so that's another simple change to keep in mind, going from vertical to horizontal or vice versa. And then let's see, what should I do for, I'll go ahead and cut this to, let's see, that was 1 3/4 by 2. And then we need a card base, this measuring the same, or 1/4 inch larger. And I'll also use the old olive for that. So I need 2 inches by 2 1/4. Oh, it's not quite 2 1/4 wide. So 2 1/4 by 2 inches. How many of you have our paper trimmer that came out in the last year? Okay, I'm going to cut this as a banner piece, but it can be kind of hard to hold this size. So, and don't laugh at me using this great big Post-it note. I use this to mark notes when I'm prepping classes and things. But I don't know, all my little square ones must be upstairs. But that's okay, that's all right. I'll make do. So just adding, using that Post-it note to hold that little piece of cardstock is really helpful. No struggling with trying to figure out how to hold that little piece. I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and I'm just putting it where this will not, will be out of the way, and it won't even cut the Post-it note, so I can still use it. Susan, you're making graduation cards for Leah's friends. Wonderful, wonderful. Susan's daughter is graduating college, and of course, like everywhere else, the graduation ceremony is virtual. So just not quite the same hype, but we still find ways to celebrate the special people we have in our life. Okay, so like I said, we could change this around and do it vertical if you think, or we could do it horizontal. I think I still want to do mine horizontal. I'm going to go ahead and attach these layers. Oh, you know what I did? I skipped a layer, didn't I? I skipped a layer. I thought, what did I do? But I guess that's okay. I still got the basic sketch. Nobody stopped me. Okay, yep, I skipped a layer. I was supposed to have something between that and the white. That's all right, that's all right. And then I'll put this on. I don't really know what I'm going to put on this though. Perhaps just a nice little sentiment that I punch out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on dimensionals. I kept thinking something doesn't look quite the same to me. All right. And what should we use for an embellishment? Any ideas? What do you think should be an embellishment there? And I'll grab a stamp set. Amy says ribbon. Anything else? I'm sure I have some kind of ribbon. I think I will stamp Hello Fabulous. And I think I'll leave the blank, this inside blank, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere this Whisper White layer to the inside. I think if I had a white layer behind, I wonder if I can pull this off without. Because I said I skipped that layer. So what if I cut this down to the 5 by 3 3/4 that it's supposed to be? And then I'm going to put a layer of white behind it. I think that'll be a nice contrast. Any other ideas for embellishments? We have lots. Good morning, Doris. Thanks for joining in. There we go. Now I have all the correct layers, and I think it's going to look nicer. this back on. I'm glad I didn't press hard on these layers. I think I'm going to go like this. No, maybe like that. Should I have the greens overlapping the white, or like this? I still like the whole white border showing. So here's one little change from the original sketch, as I haven't moved over to the left just a little bit more. Okay, and here is my stamp. I'm going to stamp that in, what's the purple on here? What is that? I think it's Blackberry Bliss. I think I'm going to stamp it in that just to have some more contrast. We have a lot of Old Olive on there. See if it fits in my punch this way. That's one of our new ones that has been in the mini catalog and is carrying over to the new annual catalog in June. So I'm excited about that. Oh yes, I like that. I'll pop this up on dimensionals also. What are you thinking? Thumbs up or hearts? I don't have too many people on this morning. Okay, and Amy thinks we should go with some ribbon. No other suggestions for embellishments? How about this pretty yellow? I think I'm just going to make a pretty bow. Trim the ends. And how many of you participated in this week's color challenge? You still have a few days to do that. You have through Wednesday, and Thursday I'll put up the new color challenge. So if you'd like to win a little Stampin' prize, Stampin' Up! Prize, make sure you enter. You can't win if you don't play. And our sketch told us put 3 little embellishments here, but since we're using the bow instead, I'm not sure I would like it there. It seems like too much there. I think if I put it down here, it kind of balances everything out. Okay. So what do you think? Is this a card sketch you think you can use in the future? Oh, Patricia, good. You like the ribbon and you like it at the bottom also. Terrific. Okay, so here is my original card, made exactly as the card sketch showed me. And then here's my second card with a couple minor changes. I changed the shape and I changed the placement of the embellishments from top to bottom. And then on my third card, I kept the banner shape, but I added another shape to the top of it, and instead of the 3 small embellishments, I used a bow instead. All right, so now you get the idea of, you know, the basic card sketch and what kinds of things we can do to change it up. And don't forget, you could also turn the direction of your cards. When you do that, however, make sure that you have your designer series paper cut so it is going in the correct direction. I would not change it this way. If I were going to make a vertical card, I would want this DSP cut the opposite direction. Alrighty, that is all I have for you today. I hope that you will check out the retiring list. Be sure to get what you want as soon as you can while it is still available. Stamp sets are guaranteed through May 22nd. All other products are while supplies last. Okay. Oh, Donna, the paper punches, I love them. I love them. And in fact, they're just around the corner from me. But this afternoon, I'm changing up my setup of my workspace just a little bit so that my punches are a little bit more handy, and they'll be just to the right of my workspace where I'm sitting now. But I love our punches. There's so many great things about them. They work well, they cut effectively. I love that they fold and lock in place, so you can store them stacked or you can store them standing up, whatever's convenient for you. And I think the price point of them is very good too. Really long lasting. I've never had one, break on me or do something crazy. But I love the punches. They're so quick, they're so fast to use, and they just add nice little touches. Okay, any questions? All right, I will be on my business page tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. I have 2 ideas for tomorrow, and I haven't decided which one of those 2 I'm doing. Maybe one tomorrow and maybe the other one on Thursday. But thank you for joining me this morning for Make It with Mary, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Have a great Monday and have a great week.